We're live.
We are. Man, that was quick. Holy cow, he is live. Wow. All right. Well, Happy New Year, everybody. It is Tuesday. It is January 7th, 2024, 2025. Oh gosh, I forgot to roll the number forward. And we are here again with a guess the sequence contest prize drawing. We're here for a webinar. Um, and kind of a year-end rewind to start out the new year with some of the new things that have been added to XLIGHTs and some of my favorite things that have been honestly added to XLIGHTs over the past 12 months. And before we get started, I have two announcements to make. Number one, the first announcement is if you're in the club and you go to pixelprodisplays.com, you get right now for today and tomorrow till the 8th, till January 8th of 2025. We're doing 50% off any original or pro layout sequence in the club. Use the code Happy New Year. You can see it right here on the screen that I'm sharing. Um, you can also see here that if you're not in the club, you can join the club today. Join in the club today. If you're not currently in the club, if you previously were in the club and you had decided to take a year off and pause your Sequence Club membership, now's a good time to come back and sign up again. $249. You get 500 free pixels from Easy RGB, and you get another year of the annual PPD Sequence Club. So you're saving $110 over a year. That's the best sale of the year. I mean, brand new for the year. Um, we did do a limited 6 song slots for the MTO sale for the memberships, and they sold out within the first I want to say 2 days, less than 2 days. I announced that it was sold out on the third day, which was actually kind of a little bit late. But we had 6 slots. But don't fret if you are still looking. There probably is going to be something coming down the road, maybe in a couple weeks or a month or so. We might come up with another special that you all might be interested in taking advantage of. So, huge thank you to the 6 people who did reach out, picked up an MTO sequence. Just remember, if you're a PPD Sequence Club member, you already get a discount on all MTO sequences all the time. Like every time you log in and the prices are already set for you, they're cheaper than what any regular non-club member would pay. We don't we again we try to take care of our club members, and this is the way we do it. Um, so those are the major announcements. The second announcement that I want to share with you is the club songs for the month. I'll go through them real quick here. If we go to Triple Play page, um, we have Tommy Prophet and Avril Lavigne. What Child Is This? And then we have Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson, which is also sung by Bruno Mars. And then a returning classic, Drifters, White Christmas. It has been revamped for 2025. Huge thank you to the PPD Sequence team as they continue to pump out some of these oldies but goodies that haven't had the updates and added new effects in for the PPD wreath. The lyric tracks are being added to things. We're trying to get around to all of those things, and the team's really helping me a whole lot. And I can't thank them enough because they're really working hard. All of them are to 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 pick up some of these things, and not just that. I mean, there's a lot of sequencers that are doing this. So if you already bought the Drifters White Christmas, by all means, you can re-download it, and the updated version for the pro layout is in the on the website, and you should be able to go download it right now. If you already bought it, that is. If you haven't bought it and you want to pick it up, you can get it this year. If and as always, one of the things that people forget is that just because you picked one song at the beginning of the month doesn't mean that you can't pick the other two. They are 50% off. After you check out with your first one, you have to check out with your first one first, your main pick, and then come back and pick up the other two. Brad brought up a point a couple weeks ago, or a couple nights ago, I guess. He mentioned, hey, by the way, do we get a discount on moving heads? And you actually do. If you are a club member, moving heads for the month for the matching sequence are 50% off. So each month, if you are planning on doing moving heads or you want to do moving heads, then this is a good way to get started with stocking up on them because you know you're going to do them for the year. Possibly, if you have a wild hair about you that you're going to want to jump in and go do it, then now is the time to consider picking them up with your monthlies. We do this every month, so it's 50% off of the matching choice. We have a new Twinkling Traditions Scarlet Frame Serenade. Beautiful. It's warm. It's perfect for January if you're running just static lights, not running a whole show, but you could still show up your roof outline. You could show off some basic things. Maybe you have a star, a couple stars, maybe you have a couple snowflakes that you left on the house. You don't have to run a whole big show. This can be just something to light things up and keep the area warm for for the after holiday season. So, Twinkling Traditions, fantastic. These are 50% off for club members every single month. We put a brand new one out there. I just got a message yesterday, somebody saying, had no idea that you had these static sequences. This is ridiculous. And they're 50% off for us. And I said, yes. So there's that. We have a new bumper that is coming. It's actually a full show bumper. That's going to be posted sometime in the next day or two. Robert and I are going to get together and figure that one out because this is a really special one. It's way more interesting than the standard ones we've been putting on for that we've been working with Carl and doing the jingles and stuff that he's been working with us on. So this one's really special. We're going to get that one out to you too. So those are the big announcements. And tonight, we do have two drawings. We're going to do one now and we're going to do one later after we get done with the webinar. And tonight we're going to pay a little homage to our PPD affiliates. If you're not familiar with our PPD affiliates, many of them are listed here on our affiliate page. If you go to the About Us and our affiliates, we highly recommend that you take advantage of all of the affiliate savings when you click on this link here on the left-hand side of your screen. Number of great sales and only PPD Club member benefits that you get. We even have other sequencers that are part of the PPD affiliate program, which is Showstoppers, Fairy Pixel Dust, and Easy RGB does some of our sequences. They're getting more and more of them as we get through them. And then there's just holiday lighting. We do stuff with them, but their stuff's on our website. So with all that being said, tonight we're going to give away two $50 gift cards, and they're going to be from our affiliates over at Your Pixel Store. So we're going to pull two winners tonight for the Guess the Sequence contest. It was Avril Lavigne and Tommy Prophet and What Child Is This? So let's get right to it. And we have two winners. Let me get my notebook. And we have I got to be careful there, Scott. Congratulations, Scott. Thank you for being a club member, Scott. You don't have to be a club member whenever you are guessing the sequence for the month. You can always join in. It doesn't matter. We don't care. We just hope you have fun whenever we do this. This is our way of giving back to everybody. The second Guess the Sequence contest winner for a $50 gift card from Your Pixel Store is going to be Alicia Hardy, who happens to be here tonight as well. Is Scott in the room? Let me see. I don't see my screen. Scott is here and Alicia's here. So congratulations, you're both here. You both win the gift cards. So we'll get those squared away. Right now, why don't you two send me on Facebook, send me a PM with your email address so that if I need that, then I'll have that ready to send over to to our friends over there to Miner and get the gift cards rolling. So might take a day or so to get them going, but we'll get them going. So that's all for this. On the guess the sequence contest, we'll have more contest giveaway. There is huge list of winners from the PPD December contest. In fact, if I can't do what I want to do, we might be holding a special drawing live tomorrow night. So let's go ahead and get right into tonight's class, which is greatest hits, or maybe we call it greatest hits. Maybe we call it my top favorite additions into XLIGHTs for 2024. And for the most part, there we're at the point in XLIGHTs history where there has been so many additions and so many enhancements and so many updates. XLIGHTs now in its current iteration that we're looking at is version 4, started in 2020. Started in 2015. It was released as a alpha test in 2014 in December, and I had the chance ever since then to mess with it, and it has been a pleasure and some stress and a lot of fun figuring out the software all through these years. But every year there's always things that kind of jump into play and really make using the software just even much more of a joy. And so from a sequencer's perspective, from somebody who's been using the software, now Robert might go down through the list of things that are in XLIGHTs and find a significantly different set of items. So I don't want to I can't. It's hard to name every developer because I only wrote down the actual things that I'm using, but I want to recognize all of the developers, and there are more now than there have ever been. I'm used to Scott and Dan and Keith and Gil and Sean, and those were the people that I know the best, the most, that I'm closest to. But there's so many more developers just in the past year that have picked up and started adding some really cool stuff in. So huge thank you as always. We are super appreciative of all of your hard work that you put into this. So what I want to start with, and it's going to appear that I'm going to go in reverse order, but there's some things that aren't perfectly in order. But if you're familiar with XLIGHTs, you can go to the Help tab and you can click on the release notes, and this opens up, and this is exactly where I had the chance to kind of go down through the list of things here and found the things that I'm going to mention. Now, I can't mention everything. XLIGHTs from January of 2024 through December 31st, I might add, of 2024 had 20 releases. I want to say that the best release numbers, there were some really good release numbers, and there were some release numbers that happened that we learned that some of us, whenever I was sequencing, I couldn't use because I would have a little bit more issues than maybe somebody else would. So remember that just because a new version comes out, it may not be something that I jump to right away. As a matter of fact, I highly recommend, when it comes to updating your XLIGHTs, and this is something I probably should talk about ahead of time, is before we get into the season, when you're using XLIGHTs and you see a new release come out. So for example, November 24th of 2024, we had version 19 came out, .19. And then December 31st, .20 came out. Well, it's not necessary to upload whenever the new one comes out. If your show is running fine, then you shouldn't have to update. And so this year, I parked myself on .16. I had experienced some issues with .17. And so I rolled back to 2016, and I ran on 2016 from the end of September, all the way until just today, whenever I downloaded and updated to 2024.20. And so just so you see where kind of a little bit of the background comes from, that's where I'm getting some of this information, and I'm going to kind of describe some of these things to you. And I have at least 10. There's way more than 10, but but I have a number of things that I want to get to. So I'm just going to go ahead and let's go ahead and get started. Um, some of the things that happen in XLights necessarily aren't with the sequencer. There's also the layout tab and the controller tab. So there's a mix of things that have been added to all of these this year, and including the engine underneath the hood that just make XLights run better. But we're going to start with this one here, which happens to be one of the most useful things, especially when you create a brand or whenever you're importing or creating a brand new prop. One of the things that has been added in XLights is you can, I think you should be able to right click and you should be able to copy it. Don't see it there just yet. But you can select a model, any model, and it can have, and I'm using the Boscoyo Ice Queen here for a reason. You can hit Control C or Command C and copy it, and then can hit Control V and paste it. And one of the things you're going to notice is that it's showing this ability to add to groups whenever you copy and paste. So what it's reading here, it says, should I add a model to the same group or groups as the original? So if you have three different snowflakes that are all the same and you copy the first one and you put all of the submodels in the proper groups, what XLights will do is it's intelligent enough to say now, hey, this is in a bunch of groups. Do you want me to copy it to the same groups as the original group that you copied it from? Well, you can hit yes here or you can hit no. And if you do hit yes, and we go up here to our snowflake groups, hopefully this works. They're just added. This is the extra one. This is the new one. And if we hit the snowflake arms, it added the snowflake arms in, it added the snowflake rings in, and it added the tips. And you didn't have to click on these individually. Come down here to the setup screen, and you didn't have to add these manually one by one into it because now XLights is intelligent enough to know that it can automatically add submodels and models into groups that they're already pre-assigned to. So huge thank you to that. That was I have a video coming out this week that we're probably going to do some things on my layout, and that's one of the things that I was so appreciative of was the copy and paste and create submodels and put it into groups. And I just did it one time before I copy and pasted it, and it did it for all of the rest of them. It filled in. It ended up filling in my all house and my all display and my all those everything. It just smooth like butter worked. Um, so a new addition that has been added is the state effect fading. Now, I should have been ready for this. Let me open up another version of XLights and I'll demonstrate this. But the if you use the state effect for any reason whatsoever, that would be a good example would be, let's say, a singing tree or a singing bulb. You might go into states and you might create a state here that gives the state certain colors for different features. So if you wanted to do green on the outside and white eyeballs and have a state where he just stays lit all the time, you certainly can do that. The light bulb is a little bit more, but more like the toy soldiers. That's why I'm going to open up my home layout. Give me just a second here. But in this state can be used or utilized for sequencing now, where it generally had never been used before. So let me move into it. Pro layout, testing, new folder, select. All right, so here we go. Let's just go ahead. Yep, we're in my layout. So let's do a new sequence, a musical sequence, and you'll get to see what this is all about. Music. It really doesn't matter what the music is because I don't think you're going to hear it. Hopefully it's oh, it doesn't matter. Um, we're going to add a timing track, and this we'll do this really quick. Bars and beats. Click OK, and we're going to do 2 beats per measure because you'll see it a little bit more frequently. So, um, there we go. So now what I want to do is I'm going to go to the arches and, or no, I'm sorry. Let me go to my master view and we'll go down to faces. And I need display elements here too. Okay, so I should have had this ready. So under the faces group, you'll see I have a singing snowman right here. And that's this guy right here. And so I did a state effect for him. And if I put the states effects down, notice that the timing marks that I created have a 1-2 beat to it. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. It doesn't matter what the music is, but this is the function that was added that is super super nice. I'm going to set my state to state number one, and so anytime the timing track, well, it doesn't matter. Is that I'm just going to go to the new timing here, the beats timing. The beats timing has a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. And so right now you can see where the states is turning on and off to the beat. Now, what was added and what's really interesting is if you want your prop to flash to the beat, this fade in and fade out has been added as well. So this is the number of frames where you can see it's not now as stark. You can see the snowman here. The state is lighting up and fading out with the beat of the music. So that's kind of a really, really nice little game changer that if you're trying to do something very specific with, let's say, your snowflakes bouncing to the beat, you can give them a state and they can just flash to the beat 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And as easily as you see me put it together there in the minute or two that it took me to get my other layout open. We'll leave that over there for now. Okay, so another effect that I absolutely love that I have really appreciated using a whole lot is the warp effect. I'm going to put a pinwheel down here so you can see the pinwheel. Let's grab 3 colors, make it a little thicker. And if you know what the warp effect is, if you're in chat, why don't you go ahead or why don't you all raise your hand if you know what the warp effect is? Should be a fun one here. And I'm going to go ahead and lay the warp effect down. And one of the things that the warp effect has added over time has been an added flip option. And so if you come over here, mirror has been a lot of fun to play with. But now there is a flip option, which with a pinwheel doesn't seem to do as much. But let's change that out to, let's say, we'll just say this. There we go. And speed it up. So that's a little bit different there than mirror is. It's almost like a reverse direction, but it's flipped. So if you are trying to do some interesting things with the warp effect, this copy or this flip is now available and it's different. So that's something for you guys to play with. Highly recommend playing with it. Again, it's just an option. Um, Two of my favorite things that were added into XLIGHTs this year that I now use almost religiously every time, even my old sequences, when I open up the old ones, I'm fixing them and I'm changing them to do that. And that would be the Galaxy effect. So this one here is the option to scale to buffer. And a huge thank you because Scott did this. I sent him a message and I said, I love what he did to the shockwave effect. And could he do the same thing here? And what he's done is he's taken your whatever your radius is from 0 to 100. If you take it to 100, it scales it to the outside of the buffer or the full size of the box. So that's the full size of the matrix. That's the P10. But now if you copy and paste it and put it on the garage matrix, it will attempt to do the same thing. And I'm pretty sure, yeah. So it scales it far better than it used to. Yeah, it's a little bit over the edge, but that's probably because the side buffer is a little bit wider than the top buffer. So in this garage matrix thing, without the scale option, you can see what it does, and that's why it's important to have the scale to buffer. Now, very similar to this is the fan effect. We could, again, you could do the same thing. You get the fan effect here, and here's the options. If we go scale to buffer, and we go back to our positions, the position is radius 1, radius 2 at 100 would take it all the way to the edge. That's what it's trying or attempting to do. And we can copy and paste that, and it still may be a little bit over, but it's barely touching that side edge there. So the scale to buffer, with or without it, it's definitely different. With it, it makes them closely resemble each other, and I've totally appreciate having that. Um, so the next thing that I absolutely love is the ability to directly open a package sequence. I love this from an XSQZ file. So what is an XSQZ file? Well, we'll create one right now. I'm going to go ahead and save this sequence. It says Glee Jingle Bells. We're just going to call this delete me, so I know not to keep it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to package it up. So XLIGHTs has a new package sequence, and there's kind of a love-hate relationship with this, but I'll share what I love about this with you. If you're new to XLIGHTs and you get to see some of these package sequences, and I'm putting this in my pro layout folder here. XLights has a new way to zip up a folder. It's called an XSQZ. We're not using it right now because the file type isn't supported by our website. We'd have to redesign something. I think I don't know what's entailed, but we just decided to just manually change this to ZIP. That's how we're doing it. But in this instance, I need to make one. So XSQZ, and I'll go ahead and save it. So what XLights does is it's packaging up the sequence. If you purchase a sequence or you share a sequence with somebody, or somebody has shared a sequence with you, and you go into you go into the downloaded folder, and I'll scroll over to here real quick. The XSQZ should be at the bottom. XSQXS. Let's see. Oh, it'll look just like a sequence too. It'll say delete me. Delete me. XSQ. And let me sort this by file type. XSQZ. I don't know where I saved it. That's A. XBKP. XS. Oh, well, it's not there. You know what? Is that the right folder? Did I send it to the right place? No, that's the wrong one. This one, tools, package sequence. Try that again. Maybe I didn't save that exactly where I thought I was going to. It's right there. Oh, well, there is one in there. Oh, that's because it has a different file package name. So here's XSQZs. They're called XLights packaged. There you go. And that's what it's called. So the nice thing is that if you share a sequence or somebody shares a sequence with you, you can quickly go into right here into the sequence that somebody shared with you. You can double click on it. And what XLights will do, it's opening up on the other screen. It will open up that package sequence in the sequence creator's layout. What's nice about this is that you get to see their sequence in their layout, but yet you didn't have to come over here into the controller tab, change temporarily, and unpackage a sequence. You didn't have to do any of the crazy stuff to get out of your layout. You just literally opened up the sequence. There it is. You opened up the sequence in their layout, and it has all of the effects set up exactly the way they saw it the last time they click save before packaging the file up. The downside is if you decide, oh, I want to tweak this a little bit, I want to add this here, I want to put a fire effect here, I want to put the piano effect here. Here's the problem. Whenever you go to hit save, this is the only downside. You can't save a sequence and it's in read mode only. So that's the downside of the XSQZ. It's not super helpful to make changes and save it, but what's nice is that you could potentially have this open on one screen, and you could have the other sequence that you're mapping to open on another screen, and you could take parts and pieces and copy and paste from this one here. You could copy and paste into the other because you see where exactly in the sequencing where all the effects are located that you want to use. Another thing that you get to see whenever you unpack their sequence or open it up in their layout is their groupings. Now, of course, this is one of our sequences, so it looks like what you already saw on the other screen. So we will just go ahead and move on to the next of the XLIGHTs greatest hits. Where's the list? There we go. So there is a new function, a huge function that is in that has been added into XLIGHTs, and that is I'm very glad this was added because we're constantly editing things. So if you're a sequencer or you work in the sequence tab, you can now, as long as you're in, and keep in mind you want to be doing this in the most recent version of XLight. Some of these are from 20 half the year away, but right here, see where it says when let's see. It says timing. Where is it at? Where is it at? I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Oh, alignment. Under alignment, they've added a function that says align to closest timing marks. So if you know that this is where you want it to start, you don't have to sit here and be perfect and grab it and kind of work it until keep working because it doesn't. You could set it to snap to timing mark, but if you don't have that set, which I don't like to have it set, you can automatically set the alignment to align to closest timing mark, and it will stretch it to the closest timing marks that you want it to go to. And if you don't like that one, then you can move that one back here, right click and align, and there you go. And boom, those are the two timing marks that you want it to be most closely associated with. So that's definitely an awesome function. Another awesome function is, and many of you may not know this, the center of an effect is denoted with an icon, and you can see that here in the spiral or the excuse me, the galaxy effect. This is the exact center of the effect, and you once you select an effect, you could split it. And the old way that it's split was exactly in the center. The developers now have set it up so that wherever you are pointing, wherever your mouse cursor is hovering over the effect, that's where the split is now going to occur. So if we right click and let's do it right over here. We could split the effect into two effects, basically making two copies. And what you can now do is, since you have these both here, we can go to alignment and align to closest timing marks. And now you can align those timing marks, even though it didn't snap to anything. Now you can make it snap to something. If you wanted to split this one here, you could do that. Oops, I have to select one. Uh, there we go, right click, split, and then we can do right click, select alignment, and align to closest timing marks. And boom, now you have, instead of just one, you have you have so that kind of works there for a few quick changes if you're looking to make them. I like using the split effects a lot. It's very useful to me. Some people say copy and paste is faster. That's fine for you too. So we'll go ahead and another change that maybe, and I like this change. It's a good change. There used to be an additional model that was available in XLIGHTs, and it was called the circle model. Actually, it's called the wreath model. And the wreath model used to sit over here on the right hand side because it started with a W. It was used to be over here. And this has since been removed from the screen so that you cannot make a circle model anymore. Years ago, the developers came up with the circle model so that you could create a wreath, and they called it the wreath. But then as time went on, we have this newer model. Now it's been out for a while, and so this wreath, this circle here, you can create a new circle model, and you can have concentric rings where you have multiple rings, and it's kind of a derivative of the star, where the star can be built out of the star model, and it has different layers. The wreath does the exact same thing. If you have a Grand Illusion from Gilbert Engineering, they use the circle model as the model for creating it in XLights, and it's a great model. But the challenge is that people had these wreaths in their layout, and for years after they created the circle model, we're like, get rid of the wreath model, we don't need it. So they still support the wreath model if you use it, but I believe so. I'm pretty sure they would. And but you're now, if you're going to make a circle, you're just going to use the circle effector. If you have a wreath that's a single ring, you're just going to use the circle. So that was created. Actually, that was removed probably a couple releases ago. Um, Another huge change in X-Lights that I have absolutely fallen in love with is twofold. There's two things that happened here. Number one is the single strand effect got one of the nicest updates that I wasn't sure that it really would make a huge difference, but it actually did. And one of our friends here on a Tuesday night calls, I'm not going to mention his name, but he created this, and I at first I was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but actually it is. So if you go to this fade box here, this used to be a 3D box, and the additions for the fade are really, really interesting. It really makes you open up your eyes and see what else could be done for some of the other effects that are in X-Lights. So he has added, put the fade on both the middle, put the fade to the middle, have the fade from the head and the tail. So in the middle, so this is like the middle is faded out and the edges are solid. The original was, excuse me, this here from the head. So you had the solid head and a faded tail, but he wanted more options, and now you can flip it around so the tail is soft at the beginning, I'm sorry, the head is soft at the beginning, and the tail is the straight solid line. And then you also can do, let's see, head and tail, which I showed you that, and then the middle is great. I use these very, very consistently for a lot of different things. Another thing that I was kind of on the fence at first about. Was the animation that you see now on the single strand effect. Prior to this change, the single strand effect, all of them looked like this, except for when a skip was being used. Whenever you went to skip, you had you had some block colors that would change. Let's see, advances, and it would show you the number of advances. But they decided to do this small animation, and you can see it here. When two colors are there, they show up on the actual background or the backdrop of the effect. And at first, I was like, I don't like it, but I really got used to it, and I kind of like it because it tells me if you change the chase type, if you go to dual chase, you can see, look here, it shows you similar to what's going on. If you add another chase to it, look what it does. It shows that there's multiple chases going on there. So I like that now. At first, it was a little bit weird, but I kind of like that now. So I'm pretty happy with that. Another great addition to X-Lights in 2024. Something that we haven't discussed at all here on PPD at all whatsoever is the moving heads, and I don't have a moving head layout, but I can always come up here and show you the moving head effect. And this is something I'm going to be spending some time working on myself this year with, just to learn a little bit more about it now that it's had a season under its belt. we'll probably play with this a little bit. So this is a huge addition to X-Lights that many people were waiting for, maybe a simpler way other than the old DMX effect, which I'm very familiar with. I've been using for years. So, but with differences in moving heads and people having two or three different brands, it might be easier to use the grouped effects with the moving head. So we'll be looking into that. We'll be going over some of that stuff coming up this year. Um, so that's another nice addition. Updated color curve dialog. For years, if you've ever used, let's do an on effect here. If you've ever used one of these color curves up here, especially one of the default ones, we'll go to the default one. Where are you at? Right here. This is a default one. It was always really hard to grab a hold of the handle here at the red here and be able to move this around. So, and the same thing happened over here. So, what I used to have to do was I used to have to stretch this out, and as soon as I stretched it out, I was able to grab this. But now, a huge thank you to the developers. They fixed this so that while the screen is smaller, and you're working with some of these that are pushed all the way to the edges, you can still reach them now. And whereas you weren't able to before, they made it easier for me to grab the handle there and move it around. And as you can tell, we do a lot of color curves. Uh, I use them. I do a lot of custom ones for different songs, and I don't bother saving them because they're very specific for that time period in the song. So this is super helpful whenever I'm trying to do something really quick with only two colors, and I don't have something set up, and I know the handle's right there at the edge. So huge, very helpful. It's one of my favorites that were added. Um, let's see. This was an interesting one that I learned about that I am very excited to start playing with. This is the circle effect. And I use the circle effect not a whole lot because I feel like it's a very telling effect. So not that I don't think it's a great effect. Don't get me wrong, but it's very telling. So I don't like to show off everything all the time. And one of the things that was added is radial 3D. Now this is radial 3D is a real interesting kind of color radial. Let's slow it down here. So that's slowed down. And I think you can now use this XY center to mess around with the radial to do different things with it. Um, the other thing is the basic radial that XLights has. There's a significant amount of fun that you could have with this radial and doing different layers and so forth. So I thought that was interesting. You can put value curves on these and do all kind of goofy things. And just I don't know. I think I'm going to have fun with this going into the future. I think there's going to be a lot that I'm going to play with. But that's how X-Lights is. You don't know what's useful until you go and figure out a use for it. That's at least that's what I always do. Um, the next thing that I thought was a great addition was allow model group centers to be defined with a right click. Okay, well now we're getting out of the X-Light sequencer tab, going back into the layout tab. Many of you haven't done this on your home, and you need to go do this. We did a video, I want to say it was last year, and literally after the video was recorded, so this was earlier in the year, this addition was made to X-Lights. I don't want to say it was because of my video, but I don't know. But I remember getting a comment, kind of a tap on the shoulder. Hey, you're going to have to re-record the video. The groups, all of the groups have this big and that's the thumbnail of the video, by the way. All of these groups have this red X that show up somehow, and this centers where any group level of effect will be displayed across. So, especially if you have the roof group and you have snowflakes on your house, uh, having the effects centered on a point in your house is very important. We do take that into consideration. The old way to do this used to be with the center offset here. used to use these little arrow keys up and down. And so see how it's moving to the right there. And then you can move it up here, or you could manually type something in, like say 300. And then it took you time to figure out exactly where you were trying to center that into. But now what you can do is you can right click and you can set current, where is it at? Hold on a second. Set center offset here, and it moves it to exactly where you pointed it to. So this is a very nice feature, and now I believe you can bulk edit it. Let's do this. All house, all display. What if I did this? Right click, bulk edit. Maybe it's not bulk edit. Black shadow, black transparency, transparency, bulk edit. Maybe it's not on there. I thought it said bulk edit, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it doesn't show it, but it said bulk edit. I hadn't tried it, but that was a big addition. That was a I don't know where that. Oh, that was a circle model. Anyway, so you can via groups, you can use that function that was added in, which is right click and set center offset here. It says maybe I just haven't found it. I'll mess with it again later. Next would be, let's see, add select effects dialog to user interface toolbar. Many of you have no need to ever use the select effects icon that's on top of the screen here. You can see a couple icons right here at the top of the screen. This one right here is for the select effects screen, not to be confused with the other icon that looks identical to it, which is the effects assist. The effects assist is used for three different effects. The shape, used for the morph effect, it's used for the picture effect, and it's used for the sketch effect. But they have the same icon, but there's two different ones. The second of these icons is super nice. If you're in a sequence that's open that has a lot of effects, and you're trying to change the color of those certain effects, like let's say, is that this one here? That's not the one. Let's go open the other one. No, I had that one. This one. Oh, it's up here. That's why. So here's the select effects. We'll go back to sequencer. And why it would be relevant was if you were going to look for or change the location. Oh, should I hold control? If you were looking to find any effect and edit an effect quickly, let's say on the let's say you want to edit a VU meter effect that you see is kind of screwy, and you know that it's on something like, let's say, the Matrix at Garage. It'll point out all of the VU meters that are assigned to this specific prop, and you can go through them, and it shows you the time that they're active. So that this is at the 0.02 to 0.8 second mark. This is at the 23-second mark. This is at the 2 minute and 17-second mark. And then if you click on it, and you don't obviously see it here, but you can see it's activating that pulsing effect there for that VU meter. And just clicking on it is enough to highlight it and render it. So it's a nice way to find certain effects that you want to give a tweak to. Maybe you want to change the color. Maybe it's not acting the way you want it, and you want to change that effect. You can go over here after you've selected the effect, and you can give it a different effect. And there's the shapes, and now you can see the pulsing's gone. And you can see that the color, the shapes there are red and green because I got rid of the red, those there. So there you go. So if you want to change out an effect really quick, that's one thing that you can do. You can then reset this here and click on it again. You'll see that, oh, look, that one went away. I don't want to, well, we can't save this. So it doesn't matter. We're in that read-only file. So that was a nice addition, was the ability to quickly be able to activate the select effects. Personally, what I've used this for would be whenever I use and I don't have a sequence open with it in it. I usually use it for when we put a picture background on the sketch effect, and the sketch effect is very needy of the picture to render, and people have had issues with the render missing a picture because the sketch effect is missing one. And so I usually go in through here and delete those pictures, and this is how I do it quickly. So again, huge thanks to having that added in. I do use this significantly. Um, Added right click sort along with buttons to move presets up and down. That's another one of my favorites. So I'll open up my preset window here. Here's my presets. You go to presets by right clicking in your sequence screen and hit the effects presets. These buttons here have been added to move and sort different groups or different individual things. Now, you can notice here, I have this very well organized as far as my effects presets. Some original presets that I had set up on my house before we started doing PPD. Here's some buffer animations I did, some more buffer settings, a whole bunch of them. Here's some cube, and I put them all in a specific order. This was 3, these are 4s, these are 5, and I was able to click on them and move them up and down the list to keep them or put them in a certain place in the list. You are able to click and drag, but the click and drag isn't very intuitive. It doesn't always understand where you mean to set it. And sometimes if you have something else selected and you grab, like, try to grab, let's say, that one, it moves the wrong thing to where you're trying to move it. So I really appreciate these buttons being added to sort things in the effects presets window. That was a huge help coming from not having the buttons. So that was much more helpful. Now, the other thing that they added was a right click menu to sort. You can sort group, you can sort all. I don't know if you have to have them all selected. I'm not going to use that because mine's all sorted already. I don't want to break it. But you have that now. Bulk edit tag colors for groups. So I made maybe 2 videos over the past year about tag colors. And tag colors are setting a color to a group where you can look at the master view. If I go to the new master, and I'm going to open up the display elements, and I'm going to show you another thing that was added to XLIGHTs that was much more recently, because these two go hand in hand. I have a new master. Whenever I sequence, I usually sequence in the new master. This is the XLIGHTs master view. It's the automatic one. In my new master, if I want to make that the master of the sequence, then I want to use this new button. It used to be Make Master, and now in the most recent version of XLIGHTs, it's been upgraded to, say, Copy to Master. So basically, it's copy this up to the master view and make it the master view. So it used to be Make Master, but now it's called Copy to Master. So if you watch any of the old videos, I'm going to say Make Master, and now the button says Copy to Master. So another reason to make another video. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we now have a master view set up with our new master. I'll go ahead and close the display elements down. And you can see over here on the left-hand side, these solid colors, these darker solid colors, represent to me either house props, yard props, or all display kind of groups. So here's the all display is green and the all stars are green. You'll see that the all house is blue because anything on the house to me is blue, and it sorts by blue. You can scroll up and down the list here and you can see I put all of my house props that are in the dark blue in. Those are the groups, the main groups. And then if you have a lighter color blue, that means it's a submodel of one of the groups above it. So, for example, here's the snowflakes, and then a lighter color of the blue is the snowflakes large, and then even lighter colors that are affected by that are the snowflake arms, rings, and tips. And you can look down and see physically, because of the color tags that you've given them, it gives you the chance to see them physically, that this is how dark color, lighter, lighter. These are the way that I like to sort my props whenever I'm sequencing so that you get the right output on your screen. You can set up a mirror and match, and you can just look at the colors to see, oh, the dark one means it's the main group, the lighter means it's a lesser group, and the much brighter color would be the submodel groups. So you can go in now into need to get rid of that. There we go. That's a bug. You can come in here and you can bulk edit, and we'll do that with the snowflake groups. I guess you can bulk edit snowflake arms, rings, and tips. I'm holding the control key down, and well, it said you could bulk edit them. Bulk edit tag color. So there you go. So I hit right click, bulk edit tag color. Maybe want them to be pink because I'm not using pink. And we can go back over the sequencer, and now you see that those snowflakes submodel groups are pink. So that's a quick way for you to quickly go in and edit your tags. I'll go ahead and fix that because I really don't like that. But I like the fact that they added the bulk edit. It saves you a ton of time. If you're trying to visually set it up so that you can see the logic in how those groups are built with submodels always down below it. For example, PPD wreath, those wreaths are at the top, and then all the submodel groups are down below them in a very specific order. So that helps me visualize that, yeah, my effects are going to work a certain way because I've got them in that order. And we're coming along to the end of the list. Again, I don't want to leave anything out. There were a ton of things added in XLIGHTs. Um, the but there is a couple notable mentions. I want to put these in parentheses. The first one was that Make Master. That was a notable mention. It doesn't really change what it already did, but they changed the name of it. So that was my notable mention. That's why I mentioned it today. Um, the other notable mention was the single strand chase effect. It adds that extra background. I really didn't expect to like or appreciate that, but that really grew on me, and that really made a lot of difference to me. Um, but the last one I didn't recognize, and this is a huge one from the end of 2023, the very last version of XLights in 2023. Keith added to additional progress displays to the batch render whenever you're batch rendering in XLights. So if we were going to do a batch render, and I don't want to do that, what you get out of the batch render. I'll go to my layout real quick. I think tools, batch render. If I click on batch render, and there is one that I guess I could batch render. It doesn't matter, but we'll just do the tune 2. Or I can do tune 2.1 and 2.2.2. That won't take long. Discard changes. That was just a demo. Down here at the bottom of the screen, you can see where it says those are being rendered, and it says one sequence left, and it's working on the last one now. And then you hear at the end a little tone, and the tone that plays tells you that, hey, all of the renders are done. Now, you probably didn't hear the tone. I did. I'm not sharing with sound. But still, I didn't realize until this year that that was something that was added at the end of the year. And it was a nice update to see the render progress. So when you do have, for example, if you go back into your batch render, if you do have a significant number of sequences in your entourage and you right click and you select all, you, you can basically do a batch render on everything, no problem. But now you can see where along the line you are in your batch render. And when you hear the tone, if you're sitting at your computer, you'll hear the tone, and it'll be a Windows. It'll sound like a Windows error, or like you clicked on something wrong, and it's actually not wrong. It's just a tone to let you know, hey, it's done rendering. You're ready to start playing your show or whatever it is that you need to do. So, guys, that is everything that I have as far as some of the greatest things that were added to XLights this year. Um, it gets harder to add great new stuff to XLights to constantly wow people. And the reason for that is because developers have already pushed the envelope so much. So if you're looking for really good uh, updates or things that you haven't learned, a number of the videos that we've done over the years, you pick up any of the Twinkle tips. There's always going to be something in there, and we try to talk about that stuff. Um, I we try to teach the new stuff, but the truth is that this software is so well developed. 2025 marks year number 10. Like 10 years. XLights has been going for 10 years in version 4, and it is still kicking butt. I mean, it does a fantastic job. And I couldn't be more proud of the development team, thrilled with the development team, and appreciative of all the work that they do to put into it. Um, Anybody have any questions, anything that I've shown tonight that you didn't pick up or maybe wanted to see again? Um, Again, a lot of the things I just read through and I got to mess with it a little bit. So there's probably some more things in there. If I really sat down and tore it apart some more, I could find some really great stuff. But in any event, that's everything I have. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in chat. That's going to be the end of it, Robert. We're going to probably end the webinar here. So if you want to go ahead and prepare everybody, say hello to everybody, and uh, a huge thank you to everybody that's in the room. Thanks for joining us. If you want to join us here in the room for the open mic night session, um, and I don't know how much I still need to do a little bit more work for the contest, so it might be a minute before we can do that drawing. But Tom put in there, I wish that happened when you do an FPP upload, so you know how many sequences are left to upload. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Oh, and then Alex commented, "Yep, 19. It's already there." Well, all right, guys. From me, Robert, thank you very much for joining us. This is everything from us here at the PPD channel and our Tuesday Zoom, and our we're coming up on the beginning of the year, so be ready for Twinkle Tip Fridays. Join the club. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.
See you, everybody.